Ads don't break businesses, they show you what's already broken. And that's why ads feel random, expensive, or useless for most people. This video is going to challenge two groups of people and help both of them. If you are watching this, you are likely in one of these two camps without even realizing it. Usually there are two schools of thought. One group says ads didn't work for me. I tried them. They didn't work for my business. They don't work in my business type. And the other says that ads will finally fix my business. They just need to hire an agency, a freelancer, or learn how to do the skill. Most of the time, both are completely wrong for the same reason. They are focused on ads instead of the thing that ads actually reveal. This is very important because this mindset shift actually made this work for me. And if you understand it, you can supercharge anything you're trying to sell to people. Now, what ends up happening is you need to understand that ads are an amplifier. And why this matters before you run your first ad, before you pay somebody to run your first ad, is that ads don't create clarity. They don't create trust. They don't create demand. Ads literally just turn the volume up on whatever already exists. Meaning if your setup is solid, ads feel incredible. It's like throwing gasoline on a lit fire. You're literally building relationships at scale. You can get strangers to buy your stuff from across the globe, 24/7, 365. In a lot of ways, it becomes a money printing machine if done right. If not, which is where most business owners end up, ads just basically feel like a money drain. They just burn through ad spend and then they get really discouraged about ever doing it again. Now, why people usually say that ads don't work is because they kind of fall into this trap. I like to call it the owner loop. And this is very common, especially for solopreneurs, is that they're focusing on the wrong thing. They try something new. This week it's SEO. Next month it's paid ads on Meta. The week after that, it's going to be LinkedIn or physical mail. It doesn't matter. They do it for a short time. They say it doesn't work. And this process goes on and on and on, sometimes for years, sometimes the entire length of the business, and they just kind of get stuck. So what ends up happening and why people get really discouraged is because they all follow pretty much the same pattern. What is marketing and advertising hoping to achieve? It's getting traffic, people, eyeballs, somebody. It's sending them somewhere, and then those people get confused, and then nobody buys. That's kind of the basis of why this type of thing, when they say ads don't actually work, here's what almost always happened. People saw it, they didn't understand it, they didn't move forward, and that's not an ads problem, that's a clarity problem. And I learned this in a very expensive way. Years ago, I landed a $20,000 contract. I was ecstatic and I thought, perfect, I'll put this into ads and I'll scale my business. That sounded smart. It actually wasn't. I spent the money and nothing happened. Not because the ads failed, but because there was nothing clear for them to actually push. There wasn't anything for this, for me, for my team, for my agency to actually put out there. And this almost always happens with business owners as well. Meaning if your stuff is really not that compelling to people and you pay to broadcast that, you're just broadcasting how generic you are to more people. And what it usually comes down to is there is no clear buyer. There's no clear offer. There's no clear next step. Hence, ads didn't do anything for me. I didn't know who I was targeting. I was trying to sell a service to anybody. I didn't know exactly who it was for. I couldn't clearly explain what they would get and why it matters. And there was no obvious next step. And once that actually changed, the ads actually worked. They showed me exactly what I needed to fix. It was a painful lesson, yes, but they worked in the sense that they showed me what I hadn't fixed yet. So really quick, by the way, if you're watching this and you're thinking, okay, but I don't even know which part of my business is broken, I did build a free 45-second bottleneck finder. It's below, down, and it shows you what's holding your business back. The link is below in the pinned comment or description. Now, here is the cold hard truth. If you want to become a cutthroat killer advertiser that prints some money, ads already scale what works. Meaning if the ads aren't working, They're not the problem. They're the signal. And every single business goes through these same constraints, and usually they try and skip it. They go to the part where they say, okay, I've sold this to a few people who I've been referred to. Easiest thing in the world to sell to referrals. They already trust you, or you're leveraging somebody's trust. And then you kind of graduate to selling to strangers, where now you're probably networking, you're cold calling, you're sending LinkedIn DMs, and then they get really impatient and they want to skip straight to the part where they're making social content or even just running paid ads, and they think now people will finally come and buy my stuff. Here's the rule that most people always skip. If you have not solved these things below, then the ads will not do anything. Meaning, if you have no business foundation, then the ads are not what's working. They're just a signal for what actually needs to be fixed. Hence, before you run your first ad, do you have a clearly defined niche? Do you have a clearly defined offer? Do you have some place where they can make a decision? And even if that's all ready to go, do you actually know that they're going to buy it in the end? Because if none of those are fixed, there's no point in investing in traffic. There's no point in getting more eyeballs on your stuff. Let's run through a little checklist here to make this substantially more digestible. I'm going to move myself over here. If ads launch tomorrow, would people know what's in it for them? Would they know what they actually get? Would they know what to do next or why to choose you? Would they actually, even if they made it through the entire sequence of events and they got to the very end of the finish line, that add to cart button or that book a call so you can sell your service button, would you actually be able to sell the thing? This right now, if any of these are unclear, if any of these are not working, then ads will not fix it. They'll just make the problem louder. And I see this all the time because the funny thing is with digital advertising especially, you don't need to guess. There's a tremendous amount of data, and every single one of these sequences tells you what's wrong. Are enough people clicking it? Once they click it, are enough people going to the next step, the web page, the booking form? Are enough people taking an action? Are they giving you their email? Are they adding to cart? And then at the very end, are enough people actually buying the thing? Are you closing enough of them? Are they checking out? These all are indicated within your actual ad data. And what ends up happening is the business owner will hire a marketing agency for an exorbitant amount of money. And then they will realize that their problem isn't actually more ads. It's the fact that, okay, my business wasn't ready to market. The smart business owners realize that after the fact, an expensive lesson like I did, or they just shun the whole thing. They say it's never going to work. Ads don't work for my business. I tried it once. It was a waste of time. Now, what you need to understand is that ads are a feedback loop. Just like I alluded to earlier, they're not a shortcut, meaning you can't spend your way out of the resources to grow the business using advertising because you'll reach a certain ceiling. Either you run out of money to actually spend on ads because you're not getting enough people to buy to cover the ads and the actual cost of delivery, or the other constraint will simply just be the fact that you can't be everywhere at once. One of those two things will happen. You can't sell to enough people because you physically don't have enough inventory, or you can only onboard so many people, or you're just going to run out of money. So ads are the feedback loop. Strong businesses don't use ads to guess. They use ads to see where things break, and then they fix that, and then they scale really fast and efficiently. If you get really good at understanding that, you'll realize that ads aren't the problem, yes, but the data will tell you exactly what you need to know. And usually struggling businesses think it's this all or nothing thing. It's not a light switch. You're not going to launch your ad and instantly blow up overnight. The smart business says, okay, we're getting a lot of clicks, but not enough people are actually taking the next step. Okay, enough people are taking the next step, but we're not actually closing enough people. To use a service analogy, if I gave you 5,000 leads right now, could you handle all of those leads? Could you close those leads? Do you have a sales script in mind? Do you have proof of doing this before? Do you have testimonials? And in the product world, when people send traffic to their homepage with an ad, or they even send it to the product page, are enough of them converting? Are enough of them actually checking out? And even when they check out, are enough of them coming back? This is very important for products because It's not a good thing if you have 10,000 people visiting your website and only 0.5% of them are buying. Same thing with services. If you're getting 10,000 people who book out your call form, but they're not showing up to the calls and you're not closing them, then ads will not solve your issue. So one bottleneck always slows things down. There is one thing that is actually holding your business back, and once you solve it, the growth will become easier. And if you ignore it, like a lot of business owners do for years, then the effort just becomes the business. It's you, it's your team, it's probably leadership who are the only thing keeping it alive and actually getting sales and getting growth. If basically they only buy from you, then realistically ads are not the problem because you have no validated offer likely, your niche doesn't make sense. Long story short, have you sold this to 1,000 strangers already? Then take what worked from those 1,000 sales, put that into your ad, and it will work. But if you haven't consistently sold this and you're the person they're actually buying from, then that's a very big bottleneck. You are usually the only person that can do these custom sales process. So again, fix the bottleneck and everything will speed up. Find out what that is, because this was the number one thing where I thought, hey, ads were just going to blow my business up and I was going to make a bunch of money. The reality is that expense mistake actually told me that, hey, ads were not, in fact, the problem. Marketing was not the problem. And if ads didn't work for you, they weren't lying. They were pointing at something you hadn't fixed yet. If you want to know what that thing is to fix in your business, all you have to do is click on that 45-second bottleneck finder below. There's no tools, there's no noise. All you have to do is just find the one thing to fix first. Now, to recap, I would suggest that unless you have actually proven this thing works yet, unless you've consistently sold it to strangers over and over again using the same operations, the same script, the same hook, the same process over and over again, if it's like an assembly line, if you can predictably get a stranger to go from finding out what this thing is to actually swiping their credit card and buying it, run ads. You have a validated offer, your niche gets it, you just literally need to tell more people about it. But again, if they're only buying from you, if you haven't sold this to a lot of strangers, if most of your business is just referrals and happenstance and being in the right room at the right time, or if your sales cycles are really long, takes months for somebody to buy, don't run ads. It's a complete waste of money. Don't hire a marketing agency. Figure out the operations first, figure out the system, figure out your offer, and then, depending on your results, you can actually get to the point where you need to be faster. It all depends on what's actually holding you back. So again, click below, find that out. Don't make the mistake I did of wasting time and money on ads thinking it's going to fix the problem. As always, I do put out a video once a week like these to help you grow your business. So be sure to subscribe as well. That's all I have for you today. Until then, I'll see you on the next one.